two global cancer researchers that's currently in South Africa to share their latest development in integrative treatment and the role of nutrition to help prevent and treat cancer. Burke, an Emeritus Professor of Pharmaceutical Metabolism at the Sunderland University, has also co-discovered Salvestrol. Now, this is a phytonutrient found in plants which assists cancer patients worldwide and has been used to develop further cancer drugs. Professor Burke joins us now from our Cape Town studio. Prof, great to have you. Welcome to South Africa and welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Now, explain to us what integrative treatment for cancer is and the kind of benefits that it has.
Integrative treatment is where a range of different types of health professionals choose and use a variety of different types of therapies to design and provide essentially a bespoke therapeutic regimen for the individual. And there's three things there I want to emphasize. The practitioners are all professionals. Of course, it usually includes medical doctors, but also naturopaths and pharmacists and psychologists. It recognizes there are a wide range of factors affecting a person's response to their illness and their therapies. The therapies themselves usually include pharmaceutical medicines, but not just pharmaceutical medicines, very much natural therapies, including the diet, which you may want to get back to. And the third thing I want to stress is the individual. Probably more than any other type of medicine-based therapy, integrative looks at the individual person and aims and recognizes that we each will respond differently to whatever we're given.
Okay, so that's quite interesting that that treatment has to be individualized and it's not just a one-size-fits-all treatment. So let's break it down a little bit. But before we do that, I need to know what this Salvestrol is. You co-discovered it. It's used to support cancer patients. What is it exactly?
They're natural compounds. They're made naturally by many of the plants we eat in our diets, fruits, vegetables, herbs. And they attack cancer, certainly in the laboratory. Our extensive laboratory experiments show they attack cancer in a very specific and sophisticated way. They kill cancer cells, and in the laboratory, most definitely without harming normal cells. But they're a very different type of anti-cancer compound. And we found them, interestingly, I think, as a direct result of first designing a novel type of anti-cancer pharmaceutical. We came up with an idea for a prototype. It worked in the laboratory. It was then passed on to a biotech company. It may or may not see the clinic. But that then led us to the realization similar equivalent types of molecules probably exist in our food. And after looking, we were fortunate in finding them. And the key thing is they have to be triggered. What we tried to do with the prototype pharmaceutical was to design something that had minimal side effects. We haven't time to go into how and why it works, but the key thing is we first discovered a trigger mechanism that is largely confined to cancer cells. It's an enzyme, it's a type of protein that does things, and that is largely confined to our cancer cells, not our healthy cells. And so the Salvestrols, they're made by the plants, we eat them, they're harmless until they get into the cancer cells where they are triggered, activated by this trigger mechanism enzyme. Wow. And this is in close proximity to their target. All pharmacological molecules need a molecular target. And so it's once triggered, once activated, there's a small change in their chemical structure causes the activation. They then hit the target and kill the cancer cell. And because this doesn't happen to any significant amount in normal cells, certainly in the laboratory and feedback from people who've used them, they largely leave our normal cells unharmed.
So where are they found? I mean, what are those foods that we should not be consuming?
Well, we should be consuming the fruits. So apples, citrus, lots of berries, as you might expect, the dark blue berries and the red berries, grapes, especially red wine. Pinot Noir's got a lot of
Oh, really? Okay, so no wonder you're in Cape Town.
Fruits, so lots of vegetables, the brassicas, avocados are good, olives are a very good source, and is olive oil, and then lots of herbs, culinary herbs and medicinal herbs. So it shouldn't be hard to find them.
Excellent.
And we think historically they probably played a significant part of the protection we get against cancer from our diet.
So this is, I mean, it's basically completely healthy eating. I mean, what you're advocating is these, there is a list, I did find the list here of what those foods are. So it's really healthy, a wholesome eating that is the problem. Now, let me get back to the question I asked you earlier. What should we avoid? Because obviously there are types of foods and things that we shouldn't go for that perhaps can, unfortunately, lead us to a state of very unhealthiness and perhaps cancer.
If you speak to a range of different people who experts, if you like, on cancer, you will get a different response to the question you've just asked.
Yeah.
Most experts are of the opinion that it's sensible to cut down on our red meat in particular, and not abstain from it. Some people choose to cut right down on it, but the main thing is not so much what to avoid, other than, as I say, be moderate with our red meat, is to try and maximize our intake of fruits and vegetables, and for, well, very good reasons, if possible, to try and eat them organically grown. Unfortunately, standard farming practices do result in a great decrease in not just the salvestrols, but many other health-supporting plant-made natural compounds. If possible, organically. Just lots of fruit and veg. Not 5 a day. It's actually quite hard to eat 5 a day. If you can eat more than 5 a day, even better.
Yeah. One thing I've been reading about so much lately are the benefits of turmeric. And I think that you also advocate that turmeric is an unbelievable addition to your diet that can help you.
Yeah, turmeric's very good. It's well known in parts of the world like India that turmeric is healthy as part of our diet. Turmeric contains a lot of different health-supporting chemicals. Most of them, maybe as many as 200, and most of them are only now being investigated by scientists in the laboratory. But the best known one is a compound called curcumin. Don't confuse it with cumin. That's an individual curry spice.
Yes,
curcumin, it's about 5% of the turmeric, and most of the studies on turmeric in the laboratory have been done on curcumin. So you can think of it as the best known active principle of turmeric, and it is incredibly powerful. I would call it the emperor of anti-cancer phytonutrients, plant-made natural compounds. It's amazing.
Fantastic.
In the laboratory, and there are, I think it's over 6,000 research papers now, all peer-reviewed. It may be 9,000, but thousands of them. And like salvestrols and like many other phytonutrients, plant-made health-supporting health-supporting compounds. In the laboratory, at the molecular level, curcumin and the other phytonutrients are as sophisticated and as powerful as the best that the pharmaceutical industry can come up with. What doesn't happen is that translation then from the laboratory to the patient. But as long as you incorporate turmeric and other similar healthy plants and spices and foods in your diet, you'll benefit. But curcumin is amazing.
That is absolutely wonderful. I wish I could speak to you all day, because I think the advice you're giving us here is absolutely essential in everyday life. It's a healthy diet. It's adding loads of the good things into your diet and trying to stay away from red meat, as you do say. Prof, I've got to leave it there. Professor Dan Burke is one of 2 global cancer researchers currently in South Africa to share their views on good nutrition to try and combat cancer. Thank you again for joining us here on the program.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.